Hi, I'm AP Stedham of AP As We See It, live here at Yankee Stadium for the 52nd edition of the Black Knights of Army versus the Fighting Irish from Notre Dame. Our special correspondent to my right, Edward Stedham, and we have the play-by-play man for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish radio broadcast.
Yeah, great to be with you guys. Looking forward to tonight's game. Should be really fun.
Tony, and I'm going to let you say your last name.
Yeah, Tony Simeone for those of you scoring at home. Yeah.
Perfect. Tony, you had a chance to get close to my friend Riley Leonard from Fairhope, Alabama. What can you tell us about Riley and how he's performed for the Fighting Irish this year?
Yeah, I think Riley's been a great addition to Notre Dame, not just the football team, but the whole community. I mean, the community's embraced him. He's loved being part of Notre Dame. He talks a lot about the university, not just being a football player and being a captain for this football team. And then when you talk about the football, he's been great. I mean, he had the one game against Northern Illinois that I think everybody knows did not go to his standard or the team standard. And there were definitely questions of how he and the team would respond, and the way they've responded has been unbelievable. I mean, they've been outscoring their opponents by about 28 points a game since then. He's looked really good every week. Obviously, his running abilities really stood out. And the way he's thrown the ball the last month or so has been really impressive. So he's been a great addition. It's been fun to watch, and we're hoping to keep watching him into the month of December as well.
Ed.
Well, of course, quarterbacks scoring, they always get a lot of attention. But, boy, Notre Dame's defense has really been coming on strong lately. What's been their secret over the last as they've come on strongly?
Yeah, I think that Notre Dame's defense has a case to be the best in the country. The thing that's holding them back is that they haven't played some of the best teams in the country. Now, they did look good against A&M in the opener down there in College Station, so I'm excited to see them in the playoff, hopefully, because they can match up against one of those teams. The key, I think, is the back end. Xavier Watts, maybe the best safety in the country. He allows Al Golden, defensive coordinator, to kind of do a bunch of different things on the defensive side of the ball. And they've really lost a few guys up front. Jordan Botello's out. Boubacar Traore's out. Guys that are out with season-long injuries. They've just backfilled so well. So corner, secondary allows them to get a little exotic in the defensive structure. And they're good at all three levels. I mean, it's hard to find a hole in this defense.
Howard Cross III, he has an Alabama connection. His dad, Howard Cross, was a legend at Alabama, the tight end with the New York Giants here in New York City. So is Howard going to be able to play tonight, you think?
Yeah, I don't know, and I wish I had some inside information for you. I'm not sure. They want him to play. Now, this is a tough game because Army runs that triple option, and it's just a down and dirty game if you're in the trenches. So I don't know if Howard will go. They obviously can't afford, in the position they're in, to rest somebody that can go because they got to find a way to get to the playoff. But if there's a game you're kind of worried about and you don't want a defensive lineman to be out there, this is probably it. So he's questionable, to my understanding. We hope to see him. If we don't see him, everything I'm hearing is they're confident he'll be back at some point this year, and there's only one regular season game left. So I think it's a coin toss. Hopefully we see him, but I got nothing for you on the inside track.
You have another edge rusher as a Miles, is that right? What's his last
Riley
name?
Mills.
Riley Mills.
Yeah.
Mills. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Riley Mills will be in the trenches as well, defensive tackle, and then also you've got Donovan Heinisch, who will probably fill the role for Howard Cross. That's a big question mark because Howard and Riley have played triple option a lot. Donovan Heinisch has not played a lot of snaps against triple option, so if he fills in, it's a question mark today against an Army team that leads the country in rushing.
That Army offense, such precision, such execution. What does Notre Dame have to do to make sure Army doesn't do what Army is so good at doing?
Yeah, I mean, I think the questions for Army coming in are a little bit similar to what I alluded with Notre Dame's defense. The schedule's just not been very good. So you're hoping that what they've put on film isn't going to translate tonight. What Notre Dame has to do against that is you have to have a lot of gap integrity. I mean, every time I talk to defensive coordinators or head coaches, Marcus Freeman's a defensive guy too. You got to be disciplined. You can't take the bait, and you have to be patient. You're not, they might just run it for 3 yards a whole bunch, and it's going to be frustrating, and you can't take the bait because they will pop you eventually. And the good thing I think for Notre Dame is that every year they have to install against option with Navy. So Army's not going to catch them flat-footed. I would be really, really concerned about this if it's the first time you've seen option all year. And Navy's attack is different. So they had to do some different stuff this week to get ready for it. But the fact that it's a year-on-year thing, and there's guys every year, we flip back to option week, that's going to be a huge help. So you have to be disciplined. But again, Bryson Dan, if he can run the ball. I mean, he can just lower his shoulder. That is unique. That's not what Navy was doing. That's not what a lot of these triple option teams have been doing. To be ready for quarterback that way, I think it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy tonight, but the good news is I think they're in great hands with their head coach and their defensive coordinator.
You have a host of Jadens at wide receiver, and they're spelled differently, right?
What's that?
You have a host of Jaden's at
Jaden's, yes.
at wide
Yeah,
receiver.
we do.
Spelled differently.
Yes, spelled very differently. Jaden Greathouse, Jaden Harrison. The hope is that those are both number 1 and number 2. The hope is that Jaden Greathouse got banged up a little bit last week. The hope is that he's able to go, and then with Jaden Harrison, he looked maybe his best game last week for Notre Dame. So wide receiver, it's kind of been by committee this year,
right.
And I think that's maybe a good thing. At the end of the day, I think they have a few different options, and nobody can key in on one receiver try to take him out of the game plan.
What about the running back situation? Who should we be watching?
Yeah, I think Jeremiah Love is going to have a case to be maybe the best running back in the country next year. I think he's that good for Notre Dame. Obviously, Ashton Genty out at Boise State, I think, is having a great year. He's going to be in the Heisman conceration. But I think Jeremiah Love, he's not being asked to do as much. The numbers maybe aren't as crazy, but last week had 16 carries for 137, big 76-yard touchdown run. Also has a rushing touchdown in every single game so far this year. So they rely on him heavily, even in the red zone. And he doesn't look like a big bruising back. He has great speed. He's probably the fastest player on the team. But watch him, number 4 for Notre Dame. He will rarely go down after the first hit. He's going to run through at least one tackle usually, and he's great after contact. Even if he doesn't fully break that tackle, he spills forward for 2, 3, 4 yards, doesn't dance, hits the hole. Jeremiah Love is awesome. You'll see Jadarian Price. He's kind of their change of pace back. He actually looks more like a bruiser, but he has some of the more long, lengthy chunk plays this year. And their freshman backs, Aeneas Williams, have been really good in spot duty this year. So they're deep at running back. Seems like every year they got 4 guys that can come on the field and make a big play.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's contrast of styles. Just looks like it's going to be an entertaining game, which I'm guessing you are looking forward to. A lot of people across the country are looking forward to this game. Plus, both teams, great records coming in. Wow, exciting.
Yeah, it should be a great game. I mean, the atmosphere is unbelievable, right? Yankee Stadium, the history these two teams have. I mean, you guys know as journalists, it's unmatched, right? I mean, it's kind of, you can trace it all back to this game 100 years ago. So I think just to be here will be awesome to see it. And then again, when you put an Army on the schedule, this is their best start in almost forever. I mean, it's one of the best starts they've had in history. So nobody looked at this game as like, this is going to be a pivotal game in the playoff. Right. And here you are. I mean, the winner of this game is going to have the inside track to the playoff. Absolutely. The loser is going to probably be, in a bad, rough spot looking at the playoff. Yeah, so no one saw this as a play-in game in many ways when it was on the schedule. So that's great. I mean, it's great for Army, the year they're having. I'm excited just to see, like you said, contrast in styles and the history, the location. You don't get a lot of chances to be in environments like this. So I hope that everybody that gets a chance to be here takes it all in and appreciates it for what it is.
The 100th commemorative game, 1924, when they first played in this contest. So one other question about the tight end, and if the game gets close, what about the kicker for Notre Dame?
Yeah, kicking has been interesting this year because they've just had, with Mitch Jeter, he's been kind of banged up. The question is who's maybe the backup if necessary. I don't know really where it's going to go, but quite frankly, kicking has been an area where they've been really aggressive offensively, and they haven't been in a game yet where they have to maybe go for a big kick late in the game. Against Texas A&M, Mitch Jeter hit a huge field goal for them to kind of ice away the game. Since then, Notre Dame hasn't been in much of a position where it's come down to kicking, but it's a huge question mark just to see what that's going to look like. And then also, just walking around the city today, it's windy.
It is windy.
I mean, it's windy today. So
Yeah.
I think any kicker, whoever you are, it's going to be a tough kicking today. You're also kicking on a baseball field. The turf, it's not here year-round.
Yes.
They have to get used to that. So, listen, I think either team, if it's coming down to a late field goal, I don't really care what the distance is. You're going to be anxious sitting over it. So, I think that if Notre Dame can get inside 40 yards, they'll look to kick. But if they're outside 40 yards, they've been going for it. If it's fourth and less than 5,
yes.
Marcus Freeman's been leaving the offense on the field because they have so much confidence in their ability to convert.
Hey, thank you so much, Tony. Really appreciate it. This is AP Stedham of AP. As we sit, reporting live from Yankee Stadium at the 52nd edition of the Fighting Irish and the Black Knights of Army. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.